country, Estonia, 5,000 men were sent to Chornobyl. Out of that 5,000, 21 have already died. 15 are incurable invalids, and 1,200 have symptoms of various radiation-related illnesses. In November 1989, All-Union Conference in Kiev estimated that in the next 20 years, Chornobyl will kill between 20,000 and 30,000 people. What it really means now, that dying has only just about begun. When will it end? Perhaps after 30 years, perhaps after 40 years. And how many people will die as a result of Chornobyl? Nobody will ever know. Thank you.
The final speaker for this afternoon will be the chairman of the Lithuanian Association, Mr. Clement Tamasiunas.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, and all dear friends, Ukrainians. On this very solemn occasion of 5-year Chornobyl anniversary, I would like, on behalf of the Lithuanian Association in Great Britain, express our deepest sympathy to your lost families and friends. Of those people who were affected of that unspeakable catastrophe at Chornobyl nuclear power station. We are learning today the cost in human and material terms just of one exploded station. But there is innumerable such nuclear power stations of similar construction who carry same danger. Very often we are reminded by our other Western governments that in the Soviet Union alone there are 7,000 pieces of nuclear missiles. And the danger in such a Soviet Union breaks up those missiles will fall in some of those republics. And would endanger world peace. It seems to me the process of Soviet Union breaking up is unstoppable, whether one wants or not. The answer to this is, first, to bring individual republics to negotiating table on the European Peace and Security Council. Second, to help republic governments to maintain stability and peace. Third, assist individual republics in peaceful transition to independence. Fourth, stop coercion and disrupting actions and interference in the internal affairs of the Republic.
now call upon the Chornobyl Committee Chairman, Dr. Mazur, to lodge the commemorative rally appeal.
Your Grace, Reverend Fathers, ladies and gentlemen, 4 days ago, I returned from a 3-week visit to Ukraine, during which I had ample opportunity to appreciate just how inadequate have been the measures taken to protect our Ukrainian people from the consequences of the Chornobyl disaster. There seems a complete lack of political will and good intent on the part of the Soviet authorities. Such aid as has been allowed to get through to Ukraine has been infinitesimally small in comparison to the scale of the disaster, the scale of the tragedy, and the tremendous need that is visible everywhere. The 30-kilometre exclusion zone around Chornobyl is indeed a joke. As I discovered during my stay from scientists, there is not 1 square centimetre of Ukraine which is not suffering from radiation. What's more, the contamination is so great that today scientists are proposing that the capital of Ukraine, Kiev, be evacuated of 3 million people. Is that not a horrendous picture? The prospects are horrific, the prospects are mind-boggling. But naturally, we Ukrainians are obliged to help as best we can our dear brothers and sisters in Ukraine. It is with this thought in mind that I should like to lodge this commemorative rally appeal. On behalf of the Chornobyl Committee in Great Britain, I strongly urge every single one of you to do the following actions. Firstly, write to your local members of Parliament that he or she might urge Her Majesty's government to directly assist the victims of Chornobyl, firstly by providing medical aid directly to Ukraine, not to the Kremlin, to Moscow. By training Ukrainian doctors to be able to use the most modern medical diagnostic equipment necessary to diagnose the effects of radiation. To establish a treatment program in the United Kingdom for the children of Ukraine. The second part of the appeal is as follows. I appeal to your human nature as good Samaritans that today you take seriously the commitment of a monetary contribution to the Ukrainian Children's Appeal Fund, which was founded last year by the Association of Ukrainian Women in Great Britain. Your generous donation will be used to provide basic medical supplies to those hospitals in Ukraine that are treating the victims of Chornobyl. Should you wish to contribute immediately, you will find our collectors ready to receive your donations at various collection points within the crowd today. I thank you for your attention, and I call back to the microphone our Secretary, Mr. Kurlyak, to propose the closing ceremony. Before Mr. Kurlyak says the closing words in Ukrainian, I should simply like to say that as part of today's ceremony, we have gathered here 1,000 balloons, black for solemnity, each balloon printed with the radiation symbol. 1,000 balloons, each balloon signifies the life of 300 children. which are destined to die a horrible death as a result of radiation poisoning. 1,000 balloons represents 300,000 children. We will obviously release the balloon as soon as Mr. Korniak has completed his words in Ukrainian.
Добігаючи до кінця цього відзначення 5-ї річниці Чорнобильської катастрофи, ми зараз випускатимемо в повітря бальони. Кожний один бальон представлятиме 300 дітей, які присуджені на смерть радіацією. Від імені голови та цілого складу краєвого і ділового Чорнобильського комітету дякую вам усім, що ви зволили присвятити ваш дорогий час, щоб ми так величаво і гідно відзначили тую трагедію, ради якої наші брати і сестри в Україні нині терплять, хворіють, вимирають. Дякую. Ще не вмерла Україна, ні слава, ні воля. Ще нам, браття молоді, усміхнеться доля. Синуть наші вороги, як роса на сонці, запануєм і ми, браття, у своїй сторонці. Душу тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття козацького роду. Душу тіло ми положим за нашу свободу і покажем, що ми браття з козацького роду.
There was a feeling of extreme dryness in the mouth and the throat, a depression and heaviness of breathing. But I thought to myself, well, perhaps it's just a day, but for the whole of the period that was within Kiev and the area, which was 4 days, I just felt dreadful. And as soon as I went back to the west, to western Ukraine, where obviously the radiation is not quite as high, I felt much better. And it wasn't radiophobia, I don't believe in that theory whatsoever.
Very emotional day today. How much does it mean to the Ukrainian people of Britain this anniversary?
Well, obviously, it is a tragedy which which is really beyond description. And bearing in mind that the Ukrainians settled, for the most part, in Great Britain immediately after the war, it is a generation which still has relatives in the Ukraine, brothers and sisters, even fathers and mothers, and obviously they realise that here in the West, life for Ukrainians is far better than the life for Ukrainians was in Ukraine prior to the tragedy. And since 1986, obviously matters have gone far worse.
We've heard today that Ukraine is a nation which is dying. Is that really real?
That is the tragedy of the situation. The fact that 5 years ago we had an inkling that obviously things were bad, and as time's gone on, the information is coming out, not from the official channels, but by people that are scientists and are qualified to make the kind of assessments that are necessary to get a better overview of the situation in Ukraine. And when one hears that Kiev is going to have to be evacuated, 3 million people, then questions needed to have been asked a long, long time ago.
What about the children? We saw them leaving today, the children from here. What about the children of Chornobyl?
Well, the children in this country of Ukrainian origin are extremely close to the children in Ukraine, in as much as last year we had a party of, I think, 20 children that came from the Chornobyl area, that stayed in this country, that stayed in youth camps, that stayed in the families of Ukrainians in this country. And obviously that link in itself has increased the bond between the children that are Ukrainians here and in Ukraine. And obviously we feel that if there's no future for this generation of children in Ukraine, then there is certainly no future for any other generation, because they are the parents of future generations, and if they can't survive, then what is left?
What do you want to say to
Well, a public statement saying that it was thanks to their mismanagement and mishandling and bad planning that the problem of Chornobyl was created in the first place, and secondly, for them to hold up their hands and simply say that they want as much aid as possible from the West, from every country that can possibly manage anything. Know-how. Money is not everything, it's know-how. The people of Ukraine need to know how to cope with their problems.
Without that aid, what is the future?
Grim.
Thank you, teacher. Sorry. sur la photo.